Hello everybody, I would like to say welcome me into the first knife collection that I've ever done, or at least a video about it. I mean, I've been collecting for about a year and a half now, so I was kind of always wanting to make one of these videos, but never really had a defined reason to, so you know what, I just thought today was the day. Before I hop into things, I would like to make a few honorable mentions to knives that I've had in my collection that are not here today, such being a Spyderco Manix 2, a Lion Steel SR2, there was a Kershaw Emerson CQC4, and a Benchmade full-size griptillian. And if I'm correct, there was a Spyderco Delica 2, or Delica 4, actually. I don't know why I said 2. I was also thinking I was referring to the word also. However, let's just get right into this. My total knife collection is equating down to about $1,000 as we speak. I did the math a couple days ago, and main places that I've gotten these from have been mostly Amazon, and I've also bought them from places like Blade HQ and just through trades and such. However, I don't have anything too special, I believe. If I do, make sure to let me know, because that'd be kind of cool to be sitting on a diamond. So let's get it started, going from left to right, top row to bottom row, because it gets more interesting as you go down. So we're going to start off with my only knife of color, which is a Strider clone, sadly. But, I traded this for a Kershaw CQC4, like I said. And I was like, hey, I want to try out a Strider, just in case if I ever did want to buy one someday, so I could see how it feels. I know that it's nothing like it. I don't EDC this ever. But, if I ever do buy a Strider, I will know what it feels like. So, that's kind of fun. And by the way, I'm holding this in like a Spyderco rack thing, if I'm correct. This is the 40, and I think they also offer like a 28. Then we're going to get to the knife that basically started this all. It is a SOG. I cannot remember the model of it, but, I went into, I think, the local Walmart, and I was like, oh, no way, this looks like a cool little, I think it looked like a pirate knife to me, because it had, like, the little, little swedge on the top that kind of drew me in. It was my first more expensive knife. I've bought, like, Tag Forces and stuff before, but what really got me into collecting more higher-end knives was probably the SOG, and that's what kind of kicked it off. Right now we have my only fixed blade in the collection, CRKT Minimalist, and it is in the Blackwash G10 version. I had the micarta version before, but I sold it to a friend for about what it would cost to get this one, so kind of interesting. Oop, on the tripod. Alright, and then we have the Kershaw Amplitude, also in the Blackwash. I tend to carry these two together, which is kind of a fun thing, because, when you're matching, it makes it feel just like a little bit better. Alright, then we're going back down here. We got a little Swiss army knife. It's got the scissors and pin blade and a file, and then the tweezers and a toothpick. I do this thing more for like utility around the house more than anything. I don't ever EDC that. Spyderco Roadie, which is actually pretty cool. These ones are hard to get out because they don't have clips on them, but Spyderco Roadie, bought that one off Amazon when the Roadie was blowing up everywhere. Everybody bought a Roadie, and I was happily a part of that little fanboy thing that started. Then we got the Kershaw, I cannot remember the name of this thing, the Shuffle 2. This thing is actually pretty cool. The bottle opener's not good for shit. I've opened a few bottles, and I'll tell you, it takes a few tries with that thing, but, $15 knife, it's pretty good for what it is. You can't ask too much from $15. This one, I actually do not know the model name of it. I've looked all over the internet for it, and this is I know for sure it's a Kershaw. One of my friends just kind of dropped it on me. It used to be spring assisted, but I took that out because, it was just a little bit too much of a kick for this thing, and kind of reminded me of a Skyline. So I was like, hey, might as well have like a bigger looking Skyline, with the deep carry clip on it. speaking of Skyline, we actually do have a Skyline, and I did ask for Kershaw for the regular clip, not the black wash one, because I have OCD and that drives me nuts. The Skyline is a great knife. Honestly, it feels so great in the hand. Anybody who tells you that a Skyline doesn't feel great in their hand is lying to you. I don't recommend buying it just because, you can find better for about the same price, but it is a good knife if you have like $50 or so to spend. However, the Rat 1. Now this is my thing. I like bigger knives. Everybody was telling me to get the Rat 2. Instead, I bought the Rat 1 just because it was, I like having more in the hand rather than less. I don't care about like pocket weight or anything, so I chose the Rat 1 over the Rat 2, and that is an absolute favorite knife. It is a dream to open. It feels great. I just can't really complain too much about that. All right, so now we're getting into the expensive things. We're looking in the about 50 to 100, maybe even close to 200 range as we go down. So let's start with this one, the big old Mamma Jamma. The Cold Steel Recon 1 XL. Actually almost got this confiscated from me. I got pulled over by a cop and was not in my legal limit, but the cop called me back and said, "Hey man, we accidentally stole your knife. Just make sure you don't leave the house with it ever again." And I said, "No problem." So, I do have some knives that are above legal limit in my state, which is, I'm fully aware of, but I tend to not carry them out unless I'm walking around at like 2 in the morning. And I was walking around at 2 in the morning when I got pulled over with this one, and that's why I got that confiscated for about 2 or 3 hours. So anyways, on to the next XL. We have the Raja 2, which is a giant freaking kukri. It's the largest knife in my collection. However, this is probably one of my favorites just because something about a 13.5-inch knife in your hand, in your pocket, just gives you that little bit of assurance in your life. And like I said, this thing is a freaking monstrosity. If you don't care about pocket weight or anything, I recommend getting it. But if you're one of those people who like to keep it under like that 3 ounces, just stay away from that. If I'm correct, that thing is 7 ounces. Don't hold me on my word to that, but if I'm correct, it is going in at 7 ounces. Now we're getting to the knives that should be in everybody's collection. Spyderco Paramilitary 2. Absolute favorite knife. I'll never sell this. Like I said, it's nothing special. It's a S30V version of it, but Paramilitary 2 is a great knife. Everybody should have it. Like I said, everybody was like, get the Paramilitary 3 when it came out, but I like bigger knives. So, that being said, I have a mini griptillian. Okay. My original intent of getting this knife was to give it to my mom, but she was like, "Oh, I don't want to take whatever you bought with your hard-earned money and whatever." So be it. So I actually do miss my full-size griptillian. I'm trying to trade that for a full-size griptillian. So if you know anybody who would rather take a mini than a full-size, I'd be more than happy to switch it off, if it's in black, because if you can't tell, I kind of have a theme going on here. So next is the CRK Batum or whatever. What drew me to this knife was the size of a freaking Medford, and I was like, hey, that's pretty cool, affordable price for Medford tankiness. So, I had to pick up one of those. So far, everybody's like the Batum 2, if I'm correct, which is the smaller version of this. And once again, I don't get why people like smaller things, I'm a big knife guy. That's what I feel. Along with big knives, we have the CQC 4 XL, which, like I said, I had a CQC 4 with the brown scales, and once I bought this one, I was like, this thing feels so much better in the hand, and I traded it, and I got the Strider up there, if I'm correct. I can't even keep track of my trades. I think that I traded the smaller CQC 4 for the Strider, but I do like the XL better. That's another knife that I'll never sell, ever. Just love it so much. From ergonomics to the Emerson, pull out of the pocket and it's deployed sort of thing. Anyways, I know this was the expensive side, but I'll tell you why I have this one down here in just a minute. It's the Kershaw Cryo, which I was like, hey, this thing's pretty cool, it's a Kershaw with a Hinderer design. So I actually really like this thing, like I said, I'll get to that in just 1 second. I'm actually not even going to put this down just so I can tell you why I have this one down here. It's the ZT-0556, and honestly, this is, I think, the most expensive knife in my collection. It's running in at about $165, and the reason why I bought the Cryo is because these motherfuckers look so much alike, right? Now, I do use this knife a lot, you know, I do use my shit, but hard to use on this. I know it can take it, you know, it's got that nice LMAX steel, but I would rather ruin a $30 knife than a $165 knife, and I just feel like that's logical, you know? I would rather cut through something that I shouldn't be cutting through with this thing than this thing. You know, I'd rather do like mundane cutting tasks with this thing than this thing. This thing's more of a, you know, go out to steak with your family and show it off. This one's more of a, you know, get work done. And that's where I feel like Kershaw has their place in the world. It's to ruin them instead of the ZTs. So anyways, that being said, that is the end of my collection. You know, I've been wanting to do this for a while, so thank you for watching. I might have more collection updates in years to come, but as for now, that's all I can give you guys, you know? So take it easy. Have a nice day.